your barriers, the taller I become. The farther you take my rights away, the faster I will run. You can deny me, you can decide to turn your face away. No matter, 'cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. The more you refuse to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. You hide behind walls of Jericho, our lies will come tumbling. Deny my place and time, you squander wealth that's mine. My light will shine so brightly it will blind you, 'cause there's something inside so strong, so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, there's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Brothers and sisters, when they insist we're just not good enough, but we know better. Just look them in the eyes and say, we're gonna do it anyway. Gonna do it anyway. Something inside so strong, and I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. Oh, that my pride was wrong. Oh no, there's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong.
Hey, greetings. Welcome back. Welcome back. Do you know what? I pushed that's the outro video. It's 3 minutes 41. 3 minutes 41 seconds long. The intro video is a minute, and I forgot. So that was a long intro. But we've gone live again because I've just been live with Sonia.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
I have not had a chance to meet her before, and I haven't caught a live or any of her videos, so I'm definitely gonna have to go and check them out. Because
yeah, Sonia, I didn't realize you hadn't come across Sonia before. Yeah, she's she's full of
she reminds me of me a lot of stuff I say. A lot.
I had a chat with her it was just before Christmas. I think it was her and her niece Wendy. We had a chat, and we said we were going to do just a 1-to-1 between Christmas and New Year. So I'm glad we did that.
I'm glad I got to see
So
that.
yeah,
I caught that just, and I literally just sat down and turned it on when that happened. I was so excited.
and I realized because you said you wanted to come on the panel, and I said no. All right, we'll end the stream and then we'll do a panel. And I didn't think about the fact that maybe you wanted to talk to Sonia, like.
No, I meant afterwards. Me and you could talk that way, so we could arrange a more thought out one. Because me and her are a lot alike. Where if you're not like you and you can keep up with us, it's really hard to keep up with.
So the thing is, Sonia she's a Goonie. You know, she's a Goonie.
Yeah.
She's in the Magic Treehouse. So, like, you can, and I know Sonia would love it if you got in touch with her, if you sent her a message, sent her a private message in the Goonies, you could.
I mean, dude, I thought I recognized the name too, and I think I messaged Alex too yesterday, and then I was in a totally different live chat the other day in a totally different sector of YouTube, and somebody I don't think they're in the treehouse, but out of nowhere I saw a comment that was like, Goonies never die, and I was like, I know. I was so excited. I was like, wonder if they're actually in the treehouse, and I just didn't recognize the name, but I thought that was cool. I'll have to go and look in it. I know it was on a channel called Whitticus, and he covers true crime. Not right off the top of my head, but I might have took a screenshot of it just so I could, because I remembered wanting to tell you about it. But I was like, it almost made me feel like they are a Goonie the way they said it and put a winky face, but they were kind of like being me, incognito, and it's one of us, but we just don't know who it is.
I mean, it could be. I'm sure that more than one of there's people with other accounts that.
Oh yeah, we have to sometimes. There's like for multiple reasons.
Yeah,
for so many
exactly. Yeah, it's not necessarily for nefarious reasons. It's just for, just for one thing, for privacy, like.
Yeah.
To be able to
Sometimes
still engage.
I like to be able to watch stuff without having someone see my name in the live chat and go, "Oh, there's him again." I just want to be able to watch stuff.
You can watch stuff incognito, but that means you can't comment. If you're on incognito, you can't comment. So you can be incognito on a sock account, like. So it's
the incognito thing. Remind me to talk to you one day a little bit more privately about the wonderful world of internet, being a mom, and incognito browsers, and how we should probably educate our children a little bit more about them. Or maybe just don't show your mom everything on the tab on your phone.
Well, yeah.
I love it. When you're parents these days, it's going to be so much more fun now, I think, generationally, when you get to be a parent, like for me, and then be a grandparent at my age, being able to grow up with my kids, I think we do get along a little bit better, and we have a different sense of humor towards things in life versus like some of the things that, say, for example, if I'd been in this same situation that happened with me and my daughter the other day, had this occurred with me and my mom, I think we would have laughed it off too. I just don't think it would have been quite as funny and understandably relatable today's times as it was with me and my daughter. It was just so hilarious the way we laughed about it, instantly brushed it off, and just thought the day that was ever even a possibility to come about in this society where a mother and daughter have a conversation about this particular subject matter and laugh about it. Yeah, that's something else right there. That is something else.
I mean, you could say, in a sense, we've become desensitized to a lot, whilst at the same time, it's really weird how society has been desensitized to some things, and yet they're hypersensitive with other things. It's ridiculous,
Yeah, it blows my mind, because it's like, if people stand there and look at it like from that point of view, so like since that was introduced to us, especially our youth, they've become more and more socially awkward, which has made them more and more unable to form long-lasting relationships where they can communicate with one another, because they don't know how to talk about those intimate parts of their relationship because they're so used to the gratification from an outside source that they don't always have to answer to, which makes us more and more secluded in that sense. So we aren't necessarily the same way we are before. And if we're not careful, that is inevitably going to cause us to not only forget how to socialize in that way, but then we're not going to reproduce because we're not doing it anymore. We're just not doing it.
I mean, that's already happening. That's already happening. If you look at the reproductive rate of the US and the UK, at the rate that we're at the moment, we cannot sustain our culture that way. We will not sustain the culture as it is now with the reproductive rates that because we're meant to be having more than two. It's like basically we all need to be having now. We need to be having 3 or 4 kids each to be able to actually sustain and grow our demographic. Because yeah, they're trying to wipe us out, man. They're trying to wipe us out, and they're doing a good job of it, but
they really are. And it's like, and especially, and they make it difficult for like, for example, like being a grandmother and being a millennial grandmother, and the fact that I've never been married. I didn't marry either one of my kids' dads, but I was with them for a long time. And I also raised my kids with a more open-minded view about things in life where, like, I'm not going to tell you whether it's true or not true. I'm going to give you enough information for you to make that decision yourself. Because what you may believe and what you go through in life, you're going to have a different perspective on things than I will, or I may, for example. I know there's a couple of different things that they would probably, I feel like in their heart at the time, they feel like they were doing the right thing based on the fact that I was 14 and I was pregnant and all that. But like, I was never given any like say so in that. I never was given the opportunity to speak about how I felt about what was going on in my life with my body at that time. And I believe everything happens for a reason. And so I'm not necessarily disappointed about that so much as the fact that like I did what I thought would be the right decision based on the fact that I trusted the adults in my life at that time. And I feel like they knew that because they were adults and they knew that I would make the decision they wanted me to do versus the decision I should have made. And ever since then, because of that, they've treated me like shit and I don't understand. I'm like, so basically I did what y'all thought was best and I at the time thought was best. But then for the rest of my life now, I've basically had to pay for that by y'all putting me down, making me feel like I'm less than a person because y'all look down on me class-wise, the paternal grandmother, and treat me like crap because why? Because I did what y'all asked me to do instead of going with what other people suggested I should have done, which I'm glad I didn't. But like, why is it that like they felt like we can tell her what to do with her body, and then when she does it, and then she goes through the life that she had to after that because of we forced her to be a parent and did things to her that she may or may not have done had she been able to make the decision for herself with the information properly. Like, how am I a bad person? And like, why do y'all feel like y'all are better suited to be in charge of my daughter's life and tell me how I should be or dictate things like that? Like, especially when in reality, last time I checked, I gave birth to her and y'all are not on the birth certificate other than her father. Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me the way I have had to go through life to the point that I'm at and the way that they still treat me towards my children, which is only backfired in their face because now my children even want to have more of a relationship with me and understand more why I had to distance myself from them. It wasn't because I was crazy like they tried to tell my children. It was because they're narcissists and they gaslight me, and I don't want a part of that. That's what sucks. Because a lot of times when they're not with me, their families will be like, no, your mom's sick. Your mom's ill. She doesn't know what she's doing. She doesn't understand. She doesn't this. She doesn't. And I'm like, literally, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. And I know what y'all are doing too.
You're all going along with the programming. you're the ones that are sick. You're the ones that are just accepting the programs. Like, I don't know, what about your family, if that's what's going on, if they're
Oh no,
have they
they are. They're
accepted,
very much like that. Like they think I'm
are
mentally
they
ill.
are they all, have they all got the jab and stuff?
I
Are
think
they
so.
that
I think so because I think
indoctrinated?
yeah, I think so. I definitely know her grandmother's a cancer care nurse, so I think she's had to have had to. I think it was mandated for her. But they all it's not just those little things like um they really like she really does look at me like I'm just like a lower class person, and basically didn't deserve to be considered like called her mother because just because of our age, all kinds of shit. She just looks down on me like a lot for whatever
Well,
reason,
it's
and I
like,
don't care.
you you did what they asked you to do, but
Yeah,
instead of respecting your, instead of giving you the support and the emotional support and
right.
everything that you
They
needed,
abandoned me.
that they and look down on you for, and
Yeah,
it's like, actually, maybe, you could say maybe back then, maybe they could, in a way, be disapproving of what had happened, so that you
and I
knew,
get that.
it wasn't great. But
Hell,
there comes a time when you've, if
you
you're
realize,
doing your best, you've got to earn you should have earned some respect for what
yeah,
you've done.
damn right,
And
and they don't give me any of it,
no, and
not a
you're
bit.
still being treated
And
like
they've been that
basically still being treated like a child.
they've been treated. They literally alienated me from my daughter for a period of time. And when her and I did start to have a relationship again, that was because she came to me when she found out she was first pregnant and stuff. And even still, then that would have been the point right there. It's like, okay, y'all been mad at me for the last couple of years. I've been going through shit in my other relationship. They were even there at the funeral when I lost my son. They sent flowers. They showed up. Her dad had just got back from deployment and stuff like that. But he didn't want to co-parent with me, and he's always let the girlfriend or stepmother try to be the middle person, which I refuse to do. Bitch, you're not going to tell me how to communicate with children, my children's father, and then dictate that. That's not how I roll. So he just doesn't talk to me for a while. So that's why his mother, in return, because he was living with her for some time, would try to be like a stand-in mom role, and that didn't work out so well when Holly was a teenager, which is why when Holly became pregnant, she was like, "I'm going to go to mom." And when I went and visited her, she would ask me questions about all kinds of stuff that she had been told while she was a teenager, and she didn't live with me. And I would be honest with her about it, all of it, whether it was good, bad on my part or not. Tell her the truth. Like, yes, I'm angry at the fact that they did not even give me the opportunity to say how I feel. I don't regret
Mm.
it. I don't regret it one bit because had they really done with my second child what they wanted to do was adopt him into the family, that would have caused all kinds of unnecessary shit later on in life. So they can't convince me that I didn't do the right thing. But for them not to see that when I'm 14 years old and I get pregnant and I then have that child, that's fucking traumatic. And not only that, I'm so young, it's so traumatic. I don't even know how to process that, let alone acknowledge it as trauma. And by the time that child is 6 months old, I'm pregnant again and by the same man. And now I have to decide, am I going to keep this child or am I going to place this child up? And how is that going to affect this child that's already here and the child that I put up? And how is he going to look at
Well, you're
me?
basically,
Why
you're
keep,
forced to you're
yeah,
forced to grow up and make adult decisions at the age of
yeah,
14,
yeah, 14, 15, and 16
on the advice of these adults that are
that
basically
had
your
plans
carers.
that were
When
set off. They were making decent money. They were good to go, all that. And they did not, it's like they did not seem to understand this is a child you're putting this in. Yes, this child was stupid, made a mistake. Understand that very much so. But here she is going through a second trauma before she can even realize this one thing here is a trauma. And you're putting another trauma on her by making her make a decision whether or not she can keep this kid or place it. Then I have to go through the decision of whether or not it's an open or closed one, which was open, which is why they know who each other are. They've grown up and seen each other periodically throughout their entire life. And they're both adults now. And unfortunately, his adopted mother had passed. And so I'm aware that that could possibly come about soon too. But the fact that there's been some part on the adoptive family where they knew that some things coming from this side would be mistold, and he still, even though he knows that I did not raise him, still calls me mom, even though I still feel guilty, and it makes me cry just thinking that, like, it's not that I don't want him to call me mom, but it's I feel like I'm mother because I'm the birth mother and I gave him life, but I can never take credit for him being the man that he's turned out to be. I can't because I didn't raise
There
him
was certain,
to be
like,
like.
and are you
But
happy
my
with the
DNA,
job that she did? You're happy with the job that she did, the
yeah,
woman that did raise it,
yeah.
and
But I never got
she's
to,
passed,
yeah.
right?
Right
But
after
I mean,
my granddaughter was born, and my son got to meet her, and then right after that, his mom passed,
it's
which
such a
is
shame.
so sad. But he's in college, um, and is going to school for architecture. And if he makes the team for the school that he's at, he'll be playing football for a pretty decent college football team too. Which I mean, I can't. I mean, it's like, there's no way now. No, looking at that, it's like I know that I did the right thing for my. I know that I did the right thing for both. Even though he could
Mm.
ask me one day, why did you keep her, not me? And I don't have a good enough answer. I'll ever feel that I'll have a good enough answer other than like it was what was best for y'all. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about anybody else. It was always their future and them actually having a chance that I was robbed of because of my own stupid
And
mistake. And they're not mistakes. It was
it
my
sounds
decision
like
to
he's
not
doing
be
really
more
well.
protected. You know?
It sounds like he's done really well.
Yeah, I'm super proud of it. I'm proud of all of mine.
So
Even my 16-year-old. He's going to be driving soon, and he'll graduate, and I could not be more proud. For someone to come from where I've come from, the way people like around here locally look at me as just some batshit crazy conspiracy theorist, to have the children that I have and the way they've turned out, like I could not be more happy. Like literally could not be more. I'm sure their dads go, well, that's all my part. I seriously doubt that, but because they do, you can see it on these kids when they get to see me. Like they're just as pumped as I am because of the way that we were all separated from one another was also so traumatic. Because I'm an empath and I dealt with a lot of narcissists. And before I knew what empaths and narcissists were. So they got me and they got me good. But then after I started learning about it, that's why these last couple of years have been difficult for me because I'm that stubborn chick. I can see right through that and I'll fight them till the bitter end when it comes to my kids. You won't turn them against me. And the more you try to do that, the more they're going to turn against you. That's science.
well, if your children have a relationship with you, it
They
doesn't
do.
matter what anybody
And
tells them. They have their own personal experience of you, so they'll
yeah,
know, you know,
yeah.
whatever anybody tells them, they know their mum is. So
And I think there's enough of me
mother.
in them where if somebody comes and says, your mom's da 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 da, and it's negative, they're going to look at them and be like, yeah, I bet you're the negative one. And you probably regret
It's
losing
just you,
mom. And
yeah, it's like, well, yeah, you obviously don't actually know who my mum is, kind of thing, isn't it? Like
yeah, yeah.
you're either just
Because I
blatantly
know that neither
lying
one of
or
my baby's dads know me. They don't know me. I mean, they think they know
mm,
me, but they know 15-year-old Emma or like 20-year-old Emma. Nobody except like you guys and like my buddy know more about this Emma than I think anybody in my own family other than my parents do. Because hell, I'm just starting to know this Emma, which is why I love her because she's awesome. She's been through a lot of stuff and she's still kicking. And I don't want a pity party for it. I hope that the stuff that I share with people will inevitably help them not go through some of the stuff that I've had to go through that's really sad and unfortunate because I don't wish stuff
I
like that
mean,
on nobody, any of it. Even
family
when
families are weird, man. Families are really weird. Really weird.
They are.
Everybody's got their own family dynamic, and most families have messed up one way or another somehow. There's always a beef or something somewhere. My family is like, I haven't seen or spoken to my parents since 2012. It was the last time I saw and spoke to them, and they hadn't. I mean, even then, they'd only known me really for a few months, and I hadn't seen them for like 8 years or something before that. Like we've had a really fucked up relationship. Me and my parents had a fucked up relationship since I was a teenager, and so they've got no idea who I am at all. Absolutely no idea. And unless they've been sat there watching in secret, watching all my videos and everything in secret. But even then, they obviously have no idea who I am, because they're not in touch with me.
Right.
They're not trying to make any contact or anything. So,
No.
and I don't think that
how
they
could
ever
they
will.
know you?
They're never gonna understand.
No.
They're never gonna understand. I guess, I don't know. But so relationships with parents and that whole mother-son, father-son dynamic thing, for me, is completely fucked up, because I had a good relationship with my parents when I was a child, when I was really young, and everything, they were God, basically. Everything was, all the rules were set by them, and I was subservient to them and afraid of them. But the moment I realized my independence, that was it. Basically, after that, they cut the cord. They, obviously for themselves, emotionally or whatever, they just snipped the cord and didn't really care too much after that. So I haven't had a sustained good relationship with my parents, and I'm not jealous, but a little bit jealous of these people that so many people, friends of mine, have really good relationships with their parents, or with at least one member, like a really good relationship with their mum or with their dad or whatever. Yours is fickle.
Mine is difficult because of a lot of different things. Like, they both have a child that they had before they met one another. So I have a brother through my mom. I have a sister through my dad. But I'm the oldest of their two together, and we are all aware of each other, and we just don't all communicate because we're all in different places. But so they've had that go on, and then they've been in this was their 40th Christmas together, and then they've dealt with all of my stuff, and they didn't abandon me. Legally, when I became pregnant at 14, I had to become emancipated because I've signed my own documents for my body and become a legal adult for this child. But they never kicked me out. They would have, some of their own friends told them to kick me out at like 14 because I had gotten pregnant. Yeah, I thought that was so fucked up, but they never did. No matter what anybody told them, they were always supportive of me, even if they thought it was a stupid decision. They were always supportive of me, and they always understand, and they've always done it. Now, they baby my sister, I think, is because she's a baby and she's been through a lot of shit, but like, we all go through stuff. And a lot of the stuff that my sister has done, I feel like is not an excuse, nor is anything that I've been through an excuse to do any of the shit we've done. Like, for example, she just got out of jail for some pretty serious stuff. But you can't just blame that on the fact that you had an addiction, or that this or that happened, or it's somebody else's fault. You need to take accountability for your shit. Like,
take responsibility for what you've done.
Yeah, I mean,
own it.
I know that I was young and I was 14 and my brain didn't fully understand, let alone have the ability to consent to what I was doing. But I damn well knew what the fuck I was doing, and I knew there was a possibility if I wasn't careful I get pregnant. I know that much.
I mean,
so how can I feel
then
right
I've got to say, Em,
taking somebody else?
I've got to say though, but then you go and do it again 6 months later. I mean, come on.
Do you know how you just don't even know?
Happen?
Well, I think we know how that happened, my dear. I think we both know how that happened. I think somebody
I mean, at the end of
should have
the
been a
day,
little bit more vigilant and making sure that door was open.
At the end of the day, though, you were 14. You know, you were
Exactly.
14,
and I should have been born.
our brains
14, and
our
then
brains
16.
are not fully developed.
Not developed
Our
until
brains
after
are
20.
not fully developed at 14.
That's what I told my daughter the other day. I said, Holly, because I'll call her kiddo. Sometimes she'll get a little annoyed. I'm like, you will always be my child, no matter what, because I raised you as a child raising a child. Thank God we survived.
She's like 20 now, isn't she?
She'll be 21.
She's like 19, 20 now. Yeah.
She'll be 21 in a couple of days. She'll be here till right after her birthday. And then my son Tristan, he'll be 16 on Groundhog's Day. That's it. My kids are grown. So, they're grown. I can't. And I did a good job for all the crazy shit. And I've not really been that crazy of a person. Even as a teenager, I didn't go out and party and never got tickets for like underage drinking or stuff like that. Like literally the biggest thing
you've
I
got
did
all the crazy out in one go. You did the biggest crazy that there could be. You got pregnant twice at the age of 14. I mean, you don't need. You're not going to be able to go and do the partying thing. How can you go and party? You're a mother now.
Yeah.
Like all of that shit. You actually like.
And I had to wing it as a mother and not let those kids find out that I'm a child. I have to maintain that I'm an adult knowing what I'm doing.
And no matter what happened, like even if you gave both away adoption, it's from that moment on, legally, but also really in truth, you become an adult. Like you have to become an adult, even if you don't want to. Something's going to change inside you.
There's no way it can't.
I see it. I've seen it happen with friends and family, where it's hard to explain what the change is when you notice that change in somebody when they become a parent.
Yep, it's different.
Everything
or
changes.
Even me, you knew me before I became a grandmother. When I first met you, when we first started interacting, I had just talked to Holly once when we first started interacting and started building our relationship back. That's when she introduced me to her first boyfriend. And when she left that day, I looked at my buddy and I said, she's going to end up pregnant. I just know it. He was like, no. I was like, I just know it. And she calls me up and I'm like, Holly, you haven't even graduated yet. If I have to hold that kid until you graduate, you're walking across that stage. But she did. She got married and she graduated early. So she won up me still. Gotta love that. Kids like, my mom was fuck up and had me early. I know what I'll do. I'll have one early. I'll one up her. I'll graduate and get married before I have the baby. And she did. But then she turns around. How old was Bella when I think maybe 8 months old at the most when she calls me? She goes, hey, I need to talk to you. It's really important. I was like, yeah, I know you're pregnant in this boy. She goes, have you talked to Mimi? And I said, no, I talked to the boy that's in your belly. He already made me aware that he's on his way. And I told him he needs to come on May the 6th because his sister was born on March the 6th. He said, screw you, Gigi. I'm Hispanic. I'll be here on Cinco de Mayo. Deal with it. And that's when he got here. But yeah, he did. He really did. I was like, Kitty, come on the 4th. May the 4th be with you. He's like, no, I will be here on the 5th, and that's that. Deal with it. I'm like, you should have been here on the 6th. Because I was born on the 6th. His sister was born on the 6th. Her granddaughter, which is my daughter's dad, or her granddad. My daughter's dad was born on August the 6th. My granddaughter and my aunt, my mom's sister, actually have the same birthday, which is the 6th of March. And then my daughter and my son, they're 15 months to the day apart. It's a lot of 9s, 6s, and 2s and 7s.
For me,
and then he had to be all oddball with the 5.
For me, it's my. I think my biggest number is 23, because I was born on the 23rd. I got married on the 23rd. I nearly died on the 23rd. It's just all this 20. And my mum was born on the 23rd.
Oh wow!
There's
Cool.
think of any more, but there's loads more into it. And they made a film, didn't they? 23.
Yeah, 23
as well. Oh yeah, and 2 years running, they predicted the 23rd of September being the end of the world.
Right.
That was going to be the end of the world. 23rd of September, 2016.
Yeah.
Or 2017. It was
They
So yeah,
always
for me,
get
it's
that wrong
23.
too. Well, 23. I won't ever forget your birthday, because the 14th is the day that Miles was born. The 24th was the day he passed away. So your birthday is the day before that. So I'll never forget that. Always. And then all these true crime cases that I've researched lately, if there is not one damn birthday or some anniversary that comes up that is the same as something in mine in those cases, I'll just kiss your ass. Like Mike at that chapter, he has the same birthday as me. Seeking the Truth with Dave has the same birthday as me. There's a guy, I don't know if you know about the Summer Wells case. It's a little girl that's been missing from Tennessee since 2021. Yeah, her dad's name is Dawn, and he has a son named Don Jr. Don Jr. and I have the same birthday to the date, year, and everything. And then the other case out of Idaho that I follow, the girl has a birthday, which is the same day that Miles has passed away. There's a lot of birthdays that are just like constantly coming up in all these cases that I follow. And I'm like, it could be just a bunch of coincidence, but what is that?
Do you want to go into Wacky Town now, right?
Yes, of course.
This is where, so it's not Wacky Town, but I think it is where it's relevant because you're focused on it, because that's your focus.
Numbers.
The simulacrum or
yes.
AIX, or whatever it is that's plugged into this system, it's putting it in. It's somehow it's to make it relevant to you, and to make it
or is it trying to speak to me to tell me how I fit into this big puzzle?
Well, I don't know, or to keep you distracted.
That too. I've thought about that. I really have thought about that a lot.
Because like I said to you before about the like these true crime things, they're really. I got really into it for a really short time. I got really into it, but that I've got a disconnection. There's a detachment for me because I'm not in America. So it's like some of the stuff could be happening in the state next door. For you, there's stuff that can be happening a lot closer to home for you. So, but yeah, I just I see it as a trap for our focus. It's a especially for empaths and for people that care about people.
Yeah.
It's a massive trap.
Yeah. It bothers me knowing the amount of technology that we have and are capable of, that there's still that many kids going missing. You mean to tell me we really just can't find these kids?
See, do you know what I think that is?
I don't believe that
is.
Yeah.
What I think that is a typical case of what they're portraying. They haven't quite reached it yet. They haven't got there yet. Yeah, right. If they had, there wouldn't be all these unsolved crime. It's that
exactly.
They're not even really trying. I don't think that it's
they can't be. I mean, they just can't be. You mean okay?
Like the CSI,
so
right?
Killed
I
4
used to
people in
love
Idaho.
CSI.
Yeah.
Hmm?
There's
So
4 people that were killed in Idaho. Have you heard about that?
no.
So at the University of Idaho, I think, or Idaho State, there were 4 teenagers, 4 young kids between age 20 and 21, 3 girls and a boy in off-campus house, but they all went to the same college. Stabbed allegedly by one person with a K-bar. Okay, so we know that crime scene is going to be covered in blood, even if someone was there to clean up, because the time of the murders occurred between sometime between 3 and 5 in the morning. But yet the 2 surviving roommates that lived in the lower level of the duplex apartment, they didn't hear anything go on. So you tell me one person snuck in this house, brutally stabbed and murdered 4 people with a K-bar military style knife, and nobody fucking heard it, and there's no blood anywhere. Like literally, even if they cleaned it up, there should be smeared blood evidence. There's no bloody footprints leaving the house from the crime scene. Nothing. Like none of that case makes sense to me at all. And people are like thinking I'm crazy because I'll be like, it's a psyop. I'm like, well, make it make sense. I've been following true crime since I was 9, and I've seen a lot of horrific crime scene photos, and there's no blood. There's not where there's. I hate to be graphic, but I've seen more blood in my menstrual cycle in my bed than I've seen at that damn crime scene. There is just not enough blood for a murder of that magnitude to happen. There's just not. But I hate saying stuff like that because if you're not careful, you end up like Alex Jones, like being sued for saying shit. You know what I mean? Like, and bless it, I can't even go there.
I mean, like you said, psyop. It just
it's got to be. I don't see how it couldn't
they
be.
mix it all in. It's like what percentage of stuff that we find out about is actually real? How much of it is actually real, and how much of it is actually a psyop? Joe, hey Joe, how you doing? Grand rising to you.
Hey, friend. Yes. Let me look back out here so I can check out these comments. It's been a minute since we looked. I didn't even know who I was in here with us. Here we go.
Kiwi MacArthur as well, man. Good to see you. Haven't seen you for ages. Good to see you.
I'm a bit of a true
New Zealand
murder porn. Long hair, leather jacket, not changed. Was a bad biker. I even literally had someone accuse me of being the killer. I was like, yeah, because I'm going to drive my 100-pound ass from fucking North Carolina to damn Idaho to kill 4 people that are like twice my size. Sure, that makes sense, buddy. But go ahead, throw me your theory. Suck my balls. I know that's ridiculous. What that was clearly a statement to trigger me, and they won. Because that's exactly what I said. I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
My trolls, which we haven't seen for a while, actually, they did come back and made a little appearance again, and
I seen that earlier today.
It didn't last very long, but they all like.
They just love you.
I don't think honestly, I don't think I've got anybody new watching my channel. It's only people that know me. So everybody that's watching, you'll know I had a car accident and somebody died. And so they say that I'm a murderer. That was what they say. I murdered my ex-girl. I murdered my girlfriend. And the thing is, I don't think anybody that hasn't actually taken the life of or been responsible for the ending of somebody's life, you just don't know what it's like, man. Nobody knows what it's like until it's actually happened, to be responsible for somebody else not being here anymore ever again. It's yeah,
you're
it's
never
not,
the same person.
No, it's not.
Talking about something genetically altering your DNA.
That's why it has to be a particular type of person that's going to be able to do it, because it's somebody that's not going to think. Like I don't see how anybody, unless they're a nasty person.
Yeah.
Just the likes of you and me. It's not, you think too much.
We do think a lot about stuff.
Might talk talk about it after, you know, like how we want, you know, we want somebody to die or something, or God, I could kill that person.
But we don't.
No,
We literally don't. We would literally rather go
it's
ourselves
mm,
because it's yeah, it does. And there's just no words to prepare you for something like that. And especially like because I think you went through it too whenever that happened with you, where you were accused of it being at fault when it was literally nothing you could have done. Same situation as mine. And when people say stuff like that to you, who literally never even experienced something like that, let alone fathom what it might be like to have experienced something like that. And trust me, I had to eat my own words earlier this year alone. Having lost a child myself, I still spoke before I thought and said something. And I was like, oh my God, what if, she really doesn't have anything to do with it? And then come to find out, she probably doesn't have anything to do with it. And the fact that there's been people live right across the street from her that probably knew what happened to her son and just couldn't say anything. And like, it's just me taking up for her after the fact and apologizing for her. And it's like, there's a lot of stuff that I've learned just from being a creator and interacting with other communities about loss and about how people grieve and go through trauma. And everybody handles it differently. But I
mm,
think, like, as far as like you and I go, when it's something like that, it it doesn't always it doesn't change you into a bad person. You may be a little bit bitter and you may be a little bit untrusting of people as you were before, but you just genuinely you appreciate life more and you understand that
mm,
life is too short to hold grudges and be bitter. It'd be better to just not even do that, deal with that, than to waller in that shit. To me, that is the equivalent of being a pig and then wallering in shit. Just just let me bask in my shit, just loving it. I ain't doing that. No, I would rather just forgive you and move on because it's going to take way too much energy to hold that animosity and hatred. Now, don't get me wrong,
mm.
it'll be in the back of my head. You catch me at the wrong time, the Lord's going to have to forgive me. But most of the time, no, no, because
Joe, this,
I would not want
Joe,
people to experience, I would not want another mother to experience losing their child, their son at any age like that. You just can't come back. You're never the
mm,
same. You're never the same. And even going through that, I get it. Sometimes people go through shit. They'll end up with substance abuse. They go through stuff and they hit rock bottom. That's not a justification. Your child would not want that. Your loved one would not want that. How dare you use their loss as an excuse to fuck your life up too when you still have it to
that's
live and they don't?
that's one of the things about loss that a lot of us don't get, we don't understand. Um, a lot, it's quite selfish. We're being selfish, you know. In because, like you said, at the end of the day, the person that's gone, would they want you to be? Because for me, my substance abuse went.
You know me.
Thank God, you know, I didn't touch heroin and I didn't get into crack. It was all, you know, party recreational stuff, but it still had a very detrimental effect on my psyche and on my relationships and on everything. Um, and do you know, I've lost my point. I've lost my point.
No,
This is
but
a tough.
it still didn't. You didn't let the addiction from your grief become you. You overcame it and learned from it, and now you try to help others because of that. Whereas, like my sister, she
But the
actually
addiction, the
lost a
addiction,
child.
yeah, the addiction didn't become me, but
It's gone.
like the energy sucking void that's what I became. I became this energy sucking, because I was so I felt so wretched for like 16 years,
and you wanted
I
to
felt
feel that.
so shit,
So
you know.
energy that you could get from anywhere, whether it was drugs or people or whatever, you were just sucking all of that energy in, not knowing what to do with it.
Well, none of it was was making me feel better. None of it
No, it
was.
wasn't
It was
fulfilling
all.
you. It's a temporary fix. It's a
But that
temporary fix.
was. That was selfish. Like 16 years later, I was still tearing myself up, and that.
Yeah.
And thinking about Alicia, would she want me to still be a mess 16 years later? No, she fell in love with me for a reason,
She would
and I
want
became
you.
somebody else. I became somebody else after that. After that, I went a bad way.
And she'd want
Obviously,
you to appreciate that you still have your life.
But then I've got this little voice says to me straight away, yes, but as soon as she died, time didn't mean anything anymore, and she could, like it would all be understood. Like when you die, everything's understood, because it's only when we're here that we've got this veil over our
Where we're so
perception, over
confused.
our senses and everything. We're mind blank, whatever. We're completely disconnected, although not completely, obviously, because those of us that are searching, we're connected. We've still got this strong connection to whatever truth it is outside of here. But I mean,
it's hard.
It's loss, man, loss. That's what I was. That was my point. Is really at the end of the day, it was being selfish. Getting stuck in this rut of grief, not being able to get past where I was. Not you have to let go. That's why you have to let go. You have to let go of things when they're not, when all they're doing is they're keeping you down here in this bad low frequency
vibrational shit. And I knew that once I lost Miles and I'm sitting around and me and my ex separated, and I wasn't able to be in either of my two kids, the one Holly's life or Tristan's anymore, for a while. So there was just a lot of Emma doing a lot of self work, and then just trying to understand everything that had happened to me in my life, things that happened early on that caused me to be this way at this point in my life. All of that has inevitably led me up to the person that I am now, which is why I had some very oppositional opinions on some of the things during the Me Too movement, which we can go into that some other time, because that'll involve Harvey Weinstein and a couple other people. People don't necessarily agree with me on that either, but it's because I'm a parent of both a daughter and a son that I have different views about that shit. But like, I feel like it'd be a waste of my time to have went through all that and I went through all this stuff that I have at the age that I have, and then to sit here on my ass and waller in either the addiction or the woe is me or the grief of that, while they're looking down wondering like, Mom, what the fuck are you doing with yourself? Like, why would you go through all that and not share that experience and try to help somebody not go through something like that?
It should empower you, because everything
start a podcast and talk to you.
I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and especially like you were 14. It's kind of like it was kind of like it was a, I'm like, everything happens for a reason, man.
Yeah,
it was like, meant to be. It happened
that was gonna happen.
It was meant to be that way.
Yeah,
because for you to be who you are now, like. Maybe that a lot of people would think that's a cop out, man, but I'm a really firm believer, because we have not had our free. We think we have, and there's people out there saying, "No, I've had my free will. I've been conscious." Even those of us that have been consciously awake to what's going on for the last 20 years, I think that we've not been able to exercise our free will because society hasn't allowed us to. So,
by no way, in no means have they allowed us to do that. I mean, for all intents and purposes, if I wanted to take advantage of our government, I could take advantage of the government because I have Asperger's and all that shit. I could be on disability, and I'm like, no, I'm not letting you try to trap me up any more than you already are with your stupid little monetary system. Okay, so I'm gonna make my money how I want to, and y'all can kiss my ass.
I could have I could have done the same thing in the UK. I could have really laid it on thick with all the necessary establishments, and I could have got full benefits, income support, like a free car. I could have fleeced the system for all of that, but I don't know, my pride wouldn't let me do that. As soon as I met a girl that I knew wouldn't want to have anything to do with the guy that was on benefits, I was like, yeah, all right, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Definitely no, fuck that. And I literally got a job like the next week. I went out and got a job, and actually,
it's opposite here in America. It's the opposite here in America. There are a shitload of dudes that literally seek out women, older women, younger women, whatever, that are on disability just to get with them so they don't have to fucking work and use them for their disability. You talking about madness?
That's different. But that's different, guys. Looking for girls that are on disability.
Like, but I mean, different. That's still shitty.
No man, that's completely shitty. That's that. But then in the UK, right, 20 years ago in the UK, you had girls and young women and young girls getting pregnant just so that they could go on the housing, so bump them up a few notches on the housing register to get a council house. Because there was, for a time in the UK, if single mums got priority treatment and they got council houses. So it was a good.
I'm taking that off secondary because I got to plug my phone up so it don't die. I think I got wrapped up in my horse. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and they do that here too. But like, what's really weird is that the dads have a tendency of like, they'll want to get the chick pregnant, and rather than stay with them and be supportive, they push them off into the system, get them on Section 8, then get child support, and 50-50 chance that the dude's actually going to pay child support. And I think that because I got in a situation where my ex, who makes about $20-something an hour as an electrician, after he booted me out, actually come at me talking about, you need to get a job and pay child support. I'm like, I'm not getting a job to pay for your drug app. Okay. Just saying. So I get in trouble for saying stuff like that whenever they hear it. And I'm like, here's the thing. I don't ever go to your Facebook. Y'all don't have a YouTube channel. And I don't ever say anything about the stuff that I hear or see you guys say about me. So I keep looking on my fingers. I don't see a damn ring from one of y'all. And I don't know why you think you have the right to call me out on everything I say about y'all, when in reality, it's the fucking truth. And when y'all say truths about me, I'm supposed to just sit there and take it. You know what I mean? Because I just speak my mind about stuff. Like, I feel like I'm misunderstood largely because I've been quiet about things for so long. And that one day when I'm able to finally speak about everything that's happened, I think people will have a better understanding as to why things have seemed the way they have about me, or at least locally, people that know me think a certain way about me or feel a certain type of way. And I think it's because they don't fully understand the gravity of everything I've been through. No, I don't want a pity party, but don't stand there and judge me until you've walked in my shoes, because I don't judge y'all. Because I can't imagine some shit that some people have went through. I don't know. I can't imagine. And some of the stuff I do know about people that they went through, I don't even know how they get up every day out of bed and not want to just shoot everything up. I'd be like, I don't know how you do it because I couldn't do it. But they go, I don't know how you do it. You do. And I'm like, my children.
The weird thing is, like, and I think it's the same with most of us. I don't think it's just me. There's things that there's so many things that you think you can't handle until it happens.
Yeah.
And then you handle it.
And
you handle it. And then it's like so there has to come a point where you say, do you know what? I could handle anything that was chucked at me.
Yeah.
I could handle absolutely anything that was thrown at me. I don't know how, but
I do.
It will, whatever it is, you know. If
because
you ever told me, go on.
I've always been a tough person, but I would have never in a million years thought like that I would be able to handle losing a child. I honestly don't know how anybody handles it. We handle it because, especially like in my case, I had other children. I couldn't just give up from that. And then once having to go through that loss or whatever, it's like there really isn't a whole lot I don't think that you could put on me that I can't handle. Like me and him have had conversations where he's like, you don't understand. You don't understand what I'm going through. And I'm like, no, I don't. I don't fully understand what you're going through. I do understand what it's like to lose someone that you love that's close to you. And I also understand what it's like to have a mother that was sick with cancer and almost died. I took care of mine when she did and brought her back from that. So I do understand grief on a level, but no, I don't fully understand what you're going through. But it doesn't mean that I'm just like completely incapable of understanding it or being empathetic to it or giving you your space to where you can grieve the process you want to. But don't tell me I don't understand grief.
Yeah. And the thing is,
I was telling my kid when he died, I understand it. When he said, I was like,
yeah.
I know he's not talking to Emma. He couldn't have possibly been talking to me when he said that. And then that's why I get mad with my sister because she's younger than me. She also has 2 children, a boy and a girl. And we both lived a little bit different lives because I got pregnant early. She didn't get pregnant as early as I did. And she went through a rough patch and got on some really hard stuff. And so her kids live with their dad several states away. But when she tries to judge me as if I'm a bad parent or something, or, well, I got on it because I was going through this and this and this. No, ma'am. You didn't lose a kid. You've not lost a child. And you were not holding that child when that child passed away in your arms. So do not use that as a cop-out. I refuse to hear that come out of a parent's mouth. I was grieving. I went through this. Everybody goes through shit. Yeah, that's cool. I could see it. Even being hooked on it a month or 2 or whatever. At some point in time, you got to get over your bullshit. There's other kids out there that need you. And you gave birth to them. That's your responsibility. So, and again, it's coming from her. She has a child that is hers biologically, being raised by a man who is not the biological father. And I have children that belong to me that I put up because I wanted what was best for them. And so anytime someone like they do stuff like I'm like, no. Because there are so many avenues. There's so many avenues we have as women, single women, or women in situations where it was a unplanned pregnancy and unsolicited attack. There's just no sense. There's just no sense in my book. In her opinion, she'll never be able to justify to me just getting on a drug and just saying fuck that. Because my nephew is going to be, he's almost 18. My niece is about to be 15. And the majority of their life, she's not been around. She talks to them and stuff. And I talk to them, and I don't necessarily like telling her business like that. But it's like, I think a lot of that is part of too that we have in society is we've been taught to just mind our own business and not say stuff to people about certain things. But it's like when we let them go unchecked on certain issues for so long, that's why we are where we are in certain areas of society.
we've been.
Like,
It's weird. We've been conditioned to keep quiet about some things and not about others.
exactly. And the things we should be
It's
quiet
really
about, we
weird.
shouldn't. Yeah. It's
But also
frustrating.
we've been conditioned to be judgmental as well, to be judgmental of each other, and
Yeah.
like people
In a double standard type of way.
Well,
We're like,
I
they
mean,
can do it, but we can't.
we're all hypocrites to one level or another. I think, you know, we're all
Oh, yeah.
guilty at some point of being. I know I've been a hypocrite, not intentionally. I think the worst thing is a person who's being a hypocrite and they know they're being a hypocrite.
Yeah.
You know,
And just not
there's like Justin Trudeau, man. You know, that sort of level of hypocrisy and bullshit is just next level. Joe Gifford, right, has said that if she's a friend on benefits in Australia and they had to sign a new agreement and there was a new clause agreeing to the WEF conditions, to the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab conditions to get their benefits. They've had to sign this thing, this clause. Now that's a thing, man. Now anybody that's on benefits, they're signing up to all of this shit. They're gonna have to sign on the dotted line to get their benefits, and a lot of people won't even care what's in that. You know, they won't even care. They're just give me my money, man. I just want my money. Makes no difference. Just give me the money, and so they'll sign anything. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're that they're consciously supporting what's going on, but man, they're gonna have to find some independence, or they're
Yeah, because
right.
there's we just got this is the first Charles Schwab I've seen being built, but just recently, locally, there's one in town now. I seen that the other day.
There's a what?
A Charles Schwab.
Klaus Schwab.
Yeah.
Oh, a Charles Schwab bank.
Charles Schwab. Yeah, yeah. And we've never had one like that around here.
That I've never heard of that bank.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
so a relative of Klaus, maybe.
It's got to be. I'm almost positive it's got to be, because it just started coming up around the time that Raytheon started moving into town and all that shit. So,
well, Zelensky,
which I think actually has something to do with our water issues right now here in town.
You got water issues?
Yeah, we're out of water in this entire town right now is down, and it's not because pipes froze and busted. It's or partially because of that, allegedly, but a sewer main break leaked into our water system. So our water is off right now because they're trying to repair it. When it does come back on, we're going to have to pull it. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Now, how did that happen? This is North Carolina. We survived the blizzard of fucking 93. You're going to tell me that a 7-degree temperature caused all this? I ain't buying that. I've lived here my whole life. No. If 6 damn feet of snow on the ground didn't fucking freeze pipes and break it, all that shit back in the day, then how the hell at 7-degree temperatures with no ice, no snow on the ground whatsoever, freeze it and do it? Yeah, it's not making sense. Not to mention I had the water running in here the whole time until they shut the water off. And I heard it was, because I don't watch the news, I had to ask my friend. She said that's what they're saying.
So,
and I was like, I've lived here my whole life. That's never happened.
So have you got water at the moment?
Unless it's bottled water.
You've got no water to your house?
No. Nobody in the neighborhood. Nobody. Half the people in town don't. Everybody's buying bottled water.
But I mean,
And the ones that have gotten their water restored are on a boil water advisory for God knows how long. But how did that happen? How do you have your sewer system or your sewer lines anyway able to affect your water system? Yeah, why? That don't make no fucking sense to me. I mean, clearly,
where does that crossover take place? Like, what that happened in the pipes underground? How does that happen?
That's the way they're making it sound, but it's still like, how would you run them? Yeah.
But how that it? I mean, unless it means that they're running somewhere, that system has to be connected for that leak to happen. It can't just happen by accident.
Exactly.
If you've got the two pipes running next to each other, you've got this is what they don't like critical thinking. They don't like critical thought. You've got the two pipes running next to each other, the sewage pipe and the fresh water pipe. The fresh water pipe bursts. It's not going to go. It doesn't go by osmosis through the fucking pipe into the sewer. Where is that? Where is that happening? Yeah, it's on purpose.
Thank you,
Clarice Starling. Weapon scarcity is the next weapon. Water scarcity, sorry, is the next weapon.
I can hear it. I love her name, by the way, because I love it. Hey, Retta.
Or fracking.
I can't even.
Well, see, fracking,
like, I don't know. And this is me, and my level of education would shock people. You're not talking to somebody with a high school diploma here, y'all.
So fracking would mean the pipes would split. I'm guessing you're saying the pipes would split. But it's like how does that mix take place? You know?
Yeah, because the fracking has to do with the power plant
underground. If there's two split pipes under the ground, because they're split, it means it's all going to be seeping into the ground. It's not going to. It doesn't mix and then go into the pipe. You know, into choose one of the two split pipes to go into. It just comes out of where it's split. It comes out and it goes into the ground. So on one side you'll have sewage, and on one side you'll have water. Where does that mixture take place? Where it gets back into the pipe and then comes into the...
Are you able to pull up the hydro plant here?
The hydro plant?
There's a hydro plant across from me. It's called Lake Julian. And it's a super fun stuff. Lake Julian, Julian, like King Jules. And it was a hydroelectric power plant, right? And then it was deemed a coal ash pond, and it's supposed to be being shut down, right? But if you look at that, there's a lot of smokestacks over there that are still going on. They put a whole business park in the skyline in front of it, so you can't see the lake anymore. They turned the turbines off that was in that lake using to cool the plant before. So now you're able to swim in this lake. This lake that has been off limits for swimming my entire life, you're now able to swim in. There ain't no fucking way I'm swimming in that water. Yep, honey, that's it. Ooh, that's the view I'm looking for. That one right there. Oh, yeah. Some of these pictures might actually be mine, believe it or not. That right there. See those smokestacks? None of that shit is supposed to be going on. You see all that black stuff? That's coal ash. They're supposed to be getting rid of that.
They're burning coal.
Because that coal ash was leaking into this water and infected the groundwater here. Across the way on Mills Gap Road, which goes towards Fairview. Okay, see, so where this plant is, let me get my bearings. Okay, if you are looking directly straight out across from that first smokestack in the front, going north from it, that's the area that I live in. So I can see all the front side of that. I can't see that coal ash.
Which one would you say is the first stack? The one on the left with the steam smoke coming out of it?
Yeah, that's the first one. And that lake right there that's all in front of it, you used to not be able to swim in. You can swim in it now. And to the left outside of that picture is the main part of the lake. And then straight across from that smokestack is back where the Frisbee golf area is of the park. And that's where I used to do my community service. And now there is a business park back there in the back that blocks off the entire view of the front side. Now, the back side where the coal ash is, I know how to access that point from a different road down the street from the house. I also know how to get into the access road of Raytheon at night because they finally took the guard tower down in the cul-de-sac. So, but they're still not up and running yet. But there's a lot of weird fighter jets flying over this town at least once or twice a week. What are they? What is it? The F bombers. They're almost like triangle shaped, but not the triangle shaped craft. But they were fighter jets that we've used before. I've seen them going at least once a week, 2 at a time, right from the lake, going that direction. You know where they're probably going? Probably the TVA, which is the Tennessee Valley Authority, which is near Oak Ridge, where they re-enriched uranium. I don't give a fuck what they say. I know that's what they're doing. They think I'm dumb. I'm like, yep. Y'all just keep sitting there thinking I'm dumb and tell everybody, don't listen to her in her 8th grade education. She'll know what she's talking about.
The thing is, whether it doesn't matter. You're thinking critically about it. You're thinking critically about what are, oh, look at that. Jets flying over more than once.
Yeah.
Same direction.
It's just like they're not coming from the airport. They are literally coming from the lake, which means it's somewhere on that little overview we're saying there's got to be a landing strip for those planes.
Have you ever gone onto the flight radar? Have you ever gone onto the flight radar to see what they say it is?
No, I hadn't even thought about that until just now. Till you said that. Damn, that's a good idea.
Right, because in 2020, right? In 2020, when the lockdowns all started, that's one of the things me and Roxanne were doing. We were monitoring the fishing lanes and the air travel, and we couldn't understand. Right in the middle of full lockdown, when everywhere was supposed to be locked down.
How come they're doing that?
As far as the skies were concerned, there was shitloads of air traffic, like ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you could also see the military ones, or you could work out which ones were military.
Hey, you can hear the Black Hawks coming for a minute. I could hear the Black Hawks in time to know that they were on their way, run and go find my phone, and then run outside in time to catch them. That's how much they were at first during 2020. Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things that Rox gets, like, almost every time she comes online or whenever she's around. There's always helicopters. Always seems to be helicopters around. But
and they've started to become more and more around here too.
Yeah, if you check the radar, you check the radar next time. If you have the presence of mind to do it, check the radar and see what the radar's saying.
And they have I told you about the water. I showed y'all that water sampling that they were doing down by Big Creek, which is crossing the bridge that Raytheon built for access. The Bent Creek River, which is right across from the Arboretum and the Blue Ridge Parkway access. They have a water sampling thing where they come. USGS Geological Survey comes and takes water samples every so often. But you know what? Graham Hancock, Randall Carlson, and Jimmy Corsetti are coming to Asheville in April, and they claim it's for one of their little speeches about the Rishite structure. I think they're looking at something else here. What do you think?
You think what?
What do you think?
Say that again.
So they're coming here to talk about some of that, like those geo-cataclysm events, the stuff that Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock talk about.
Anything that Graham Hancock's talking about should just be chucked in the bin. Just don't listen to a word he fucking says.
Ooh, let's talk about this.
Don't listen to a word Graham Hancock says. The guy's sold out completely.
You think so?
Totally,
what about Randall?
100% sold out. Don't even know who Randall is. If he's
Randall
spouting the same sort of bullshit, if he's spouting the same crap that Graham Hancock's spouting, then he's exactly the same.
What about
putting everybody on a false narrative? Robert Shaw.
Robert Stock and Robert Duvall.
Nah,
that did the stuff with the pyramids. Have you ever heard of them?
I don't listen to anybody saying anything about pyramids or ancient aliens or any of that stuff. It's all a false narrative. It's absolute horse crap. I would sooner listen to Jason Brashears, what Jason's saying about AIX and the simulacrum. It makes far more sense to me. And he can back up what he's saying as well. He's read all the same books as Graham Hancock. But he's worked out and that, you know, the Shahs are days, not years. So this whole narrative put forward by Graham Hancock's narrative is attached to Zechariah Sitchin and, you know, the Sumerian tablets.
It is a little bit,
It's bullshit. It's all bullshit, man.
Yeah.
It's all part of a false narrative to make us think something that's not true.
Because I have this
ancient aliens bollocks.
America Before, and that's where they dig a little bit into the mounds, you know, in Ohio, and I do believe in the giant burial mound. That I do believe.
The giants,
the Tartary, giant.
Giants absolutely exist.
I do believe in the mounds that are here.
Definitely existed. Yeah.
And they're covered. They use our Native American Indians to cover up those mounds, claiming that they're they're not Native American Indian burial grounds. They're not. They're definitely not.
So the book that I've been reading online, you know, I've been streaming live, reading Children of the Sun.
Yeah.
And what that guy has observed is how civilizations have started off advanced, and then as time's gone on, they've kind of become less and less civilized and less, you know, they've retained some aspects of the civilization before them, but it's always gone into degradation afterwards. And he's managed to prove that through observation of these migrations of civilization, of the people that worship the sun gods. And it has observed this transition from sun god to god of war, to, you know, and this whole how we used to say that we were, you know, it was the actual gods that were here, then it was the sons and daughters of the gods that were here, and then it wasn't, and they didn't claim any connection to the gods. And it started off advanced and civilized, and what it seems to show is like these resets.
Yeah, I just said that to him earlier. I was like, I think it's about time. We're about to get one. We really are.
There's definitely something in this reset theory.
There has to be.
I mean,
it just keeps proving it over and over. We can literally see it happening over and over. They just switch the name up from this.
Makes sense. It makes sense of the silly anomalies that there are. Like, out of place architecture and completely disjointed, like the ability to completely disconnect us from our story could only be possible if there were these, you know, these things that happened that disjointed and disconnected people naturally.
Yeah.
Like disasters, cataclysms, whatever, wars. That's been there. That like, so they know that resetting people through chaos.
Yeah.
They create a war, and that creates chaos, and then they can reset the paradigms during that chaos.
Like, look, we have all the answers. And I'm like, yeah, because you created all the problems. So of course you have the answers. Has been literally like, because one of my really good friends, she's super, super Christian, but like probably one of the coolest Christians I think I've ever encountered, in a sense. I think it has a little bit to do that we grew up together too, so we understand one another and where we've come from. And like, so she's super solid in her faith, but we can have conversations back and forth all day long about the different subject matter in the Bible, where like some things other people will look at me and I'll say, and they'll be like, "That's blasphemous. I can't believe you say that." She can understand why I'd say that. She can understand some of the stuff I say and why I question the Bible and why I question the versions of the Bible and stuff like that. But at the same time, she's still like, I understand where she comes from in her belief system and why, because she'll always pull out the Bible and show me some scripture to go with it. And I'm like, okay, I get that, but make this part make sense to me. And then because it was so long ago that we got it at King James Version. So that's obviously just one version of the Bible. And we don't even know how many versions before that, technically, that were. And we're taking this one man, King James Version, and making that the end all be all of everything, when literally there's about 20
Which
different contradictions. Yeah.
Technically, King James Version is
just
actually Francis Bacon version. It's actually Francis Bacon version because Francis Bacon had the final edit of it. He had the final edit and the final say of what went into it. So it had King James's name on it and his stamp and everything on it, but it was actually Francis Bacon that put it together. So
yeah. And if Jesus' whole thing was always, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, then why do we got to keep changing up the Bible and changing it up? The truth should be the truth, and we shouldn't have to take out the book of Enoch or the book of Thomas and all this stuff. The truth is the truth, is it not? And if you're redacting stuff, which means you're hiding stuff, means, to me, it kind of looks like you're pushing your own little narrative.
Anyone that's
okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but if I believe in your system, we went to church together, you were there when I got saved. Technically, if I believe everything your God believes and you believe that, then I'm good. And I'll have to answer to God when I get to heaven. Like, Emma, why did you get saved if you were just going to turn around and basically argue with me on everything I said? I'm like, well, why did you call Lucifer Lucifer when you know that meant light bringer, and then tell us he's the devil? Don't worry, God, I'll wait. They're like, just get the hell out of here, Emma. Just go. I'm not arguing with you no more. That's how I believe that God or the devil, or I call them all sorts. I think we are just an extension of him. Like, how could it's a person or a being that is so omnipotent that it created literally everything in existence experience something like this without having to come into this form? And like you say, and I believe, we are the ones that write reality. It's what we say and we put out there and project out there that comes about. So if we're putting a bunch of negativity out there, then we're the devil and we're doing it. If we're putting a bunch of good stuff out there and we're causing good change, we're our own God and we're the ones doing that. So when people look at me when I say I'm my own God or we are a God, and they go, that's blasphemous, I'm like, I hate it for you when the day you realize it's not. And it's true.
But it's the thing is, it's done with a certain humility though, because it's like, well, yeah, feel like that, but don't have full control.
No,
still don't have full control, because if we did, then
we wouldn't be.
When we changed, I'd rather be, you know, in a different situation than I'm in right now.
You would be better.
And also there's
absolute
knowledge. There's absolute knowledge that however powerful I might be, there's something more powerful. Like that, I'm not the. I didn't create all of this.
No, but
you know,
the part of you that's out there, not here, did.
I might be creating what's happening. I might be have a co-production, a co-producer role, executive producer, or whatever role in what's actually happening and the way it happens. But I didn't. Yeah, we're not saying that we created the universe.
No.
You know, although maybe collectively that's, you know, maybe that's what God is. If you took the essence of all of us as fractals,
he's just doing it through us. Because honestly, if I was God, I'm not going to come down here and be around y'all. Okay, I'm going to make y'all, and then I'm going to project myself through y'all to get what I need done down here.
The thing, right? I think in a way that we do it, like, not all of us, obviously, but as a collective or whatever, as a species, there are people out there that are designing games that are as realistic as they can possibly make them. Their own little universes that they create, to then go in there and play in the game that they've created.
Yeah.
Right. And be a character that they've created within that game. And we play games that other people have created, and we agree to all the parameters that are set within that game when we do it. I think all we're doing is mirroring what's already actually going on with us. Like, we had some role in the creation of the template that we're all working on, like, of Earth, and you know, that's a table and this is a microphone, and we were doing all this on a computer, but I think it's so complicated. Like, I don't know how much control we're allowed to have over our own. There's people out there that say we've got complete control over our own.
Controller is done, and then we get our own control. I'll tell you my theory about that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there are people. Maybe there are people. There are people that have got control now, and fair play, all power to them. Excellent. I don't appear to have just yet, because
no, you won't yet, because you're the one that created you. Like, is your player? You know what I mean? They're still here. When they're gone, then you get your controller and you have your own player. That's what I think. And you'd be surprised if I told you who I think everybody's character is. So, like, if me and you're sitting around playing Mario, I'm playing Mario and you're playing Luigi. In reality, it's because I'm playing Mario because I created Mario. Mario's my son or whatever. So when I go on, then Mario gets his own controller and he's got his own player. Just like you would have Luigi. When you go, Luigi has his own controller and his own player. That's just my theory. That's just my own little theory. And then it's like, just like we watch it as a game, that person is watching us while they're controlling us the whole time, just laughing. Or when they fuck up, they throw the remote down, and that's when we're sitting over there in the corner crying. Why can't I do anything?
I mean, I think that's where our perception is limited, because we're limited to what we've experienced.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We are completely limited to what we've experienced. So we can only put it into those terms.
Yeah.
But I think this is a 100% physical immersion. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's maybe there's entities, intelligent entities outside that are watching what's happening inside.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely think that. Have you seen any of the Cube movies?
The what?
Those Cube horror movies? Yeah.
Yeah, I did see. Yeah, do you know what? I need to watch it again though, because
all of them are good. I think there's a total of 4. Every one of them, from start to finish, are very, very good. Because if you watch them and pay attention to them, it also makes you think more about that 411 thing and the connection between people that are like have autism or whatever, or that are nonverbal, and their intelligence level when it comes to numbers and cube geometry, the simulacrum. Those movies are really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I mean, they are actually in a cube, aren't they? And it moves around. They're going to basically into different rooms.
Constantly moving.
Yeah.
And because they're in the cube, you don't actually know how big the cube is and how many layers. Because sometimes they'll come back out in a room they've already been in, but it's at a different time period. They're in there and they're dead in that time, but they're looking at themselves dead in a room. I don't want to spoil it too much, because each movie is a little bit different, but tells the whole story. But yeah, I do believe that if this is it's very much set up like that. It would explain a lot of stuff. But just knowing all that to me sometimes I think is why I live my life the way I do, because it's like a lot of that stuff that I can't inevitably change in the long run. And if I'm gonna just get sent back here again, then why not just do it this way this time? If it doesn't work, next time I come around, try some other way. Huh?
The way I feel about it is like it's definitely different this time. Right? There's something different about it this time. It's like, well, how do you know that? It's like, because I'm aware. Because I'm aware. Because I'm sat here and I'm watching this shit happen, and I'm at whatever conscious level it is that I'm at, and I'm aware. So it's different. Maybe I was aware. Maybe in a different lifetime I was aware. And you know, and there's just this reason. Maybe every time I've been incarnated, I've been aware. I don't know.
Well, I feel like
I'm aware.
at least after 1 or 2, you're aware. Yeah, for sure.
No,
that's what. Yeah.
Adrienne Elise says that in every that we've been here, we've been basically we were here. All of us that are here and we're aware now, we were here back in Atlantean times, and this is all.
What are you doing?
Where have you gone?
Yeah, I'm right here. I was just making sure I heard that correct. I didn't know if he was looking for something I had back here in my ear or what. I was like making sure I didn't just, yeah. But yeah, I don't feel like, I feel like that there's too much for this to be a simulacrum and not be a simulacrum. That like, that's why I do like listening to Jason. But some stuff Jason I go is a little far fetched for me to totally latch on just yet.
When he talks about what he thinks the possibilities are outside of what he's read,
right.
his own imagination about what could be going on, I have difficulty with that because it's all a bit too Hollywood for me. You know, it's like Hollywood indoctrination programming that's still lingering there in the back of our, you know, we might just be, we come, you know, when we finish this, we come out of these pods, and, you know, I think I just have a bit of difficulty with that. And I still have a little bit of a thing about, like, not all the books that he puts in his bibliography that he's quoted, that he sources for the for his chronology, they're not all accessible. Like, they might all be there quoted, but they're not all accessible. Certainly to the likes of me, they're not accessible.
Yeah.
So I've got no way. I have to rely on other people. Like, and there has to be a certain jump of, you know, he says, oh, anybody can check my work. Anybody, well, no, they can't. I can't check your work, Jace. I've got no access to those books. If I had access to those books, I might be able to check it, but I don't know if I've got the patience to do that. Maybe if I got locked up in prison for 20 years, you know.
And some of the books that he's are hard to find.
I mean, but that's sort of like there's absolutely no question that guy is extremely well read.
Yeah.
So I respect that. I respect the fact that he's read a lot of books I'm just never going to read.
Because some of them I don't necessarily think are that relevant. You know, I think some of these books are put out there just like people are, but for operative reasons, for like controlled operative.
I mean, I can't check all the books that he's read, but 2 of the books or 3 of the books that he's quoted.
Like, I wonder if he's got this.
2 of the books that he's quoted and sort of suggested that people read, I've read live on my channel, and that's The Children of the Sun and oh God, what's the other one? The Damned. The book of the Damned.
Yeah.
Book of the Damned. Yeah. I'm reading that, and they're really good books, man. They got really good. Learn something reading them. So just the first two random books that I decide to go and check up on that he's suggested, and there's definitely, he's
well read.
He's definitely worth listening to, man.
Yeah, like this. I wonder if he's got this one. We should do me and you should do this one sometime. It's The Secret History of the World, but it's got and it's got a lot of different stuff in here. Like let's see, there's one right here that's got a picture of a woman. It looks like some kind of demon sitting on her chest, and then some weird demonic horse in the background. It's a nightmare. And Swiss artist Henry Fuseli depicting a demon from the dark side of the moon. And let's see if I can get that right. Whoops. There. It's that one. But it's really hard to see because of the glare, because of the shiny pages. There we go. Oh, it's so hard to hold on a minute. Let's see if I can do it like this. It's this one.
Okay.
And you can see, and the horse is kind of there's the horse. The demon is like right on the chest. Hold on. Right over there in the corner. Other way.
Yeah, sort of
there's the demon right there. Yeah. And it's sitting on her chest, and I thought that was weird.
The horse looks kind of demonic as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The horse looks really demonic. And then, let's see, there was one more I seen right before or after that I thought was really odd, too. Maybe it was right before that. I noticed that it had a lot of different weird pictures in it. Like here, we got pictures of the Buddha, and then under that, it says the opening of the fifth seal in the Revelation of St. John. The opening of the seals is a description of what our new powers of perception will reveal when our occult organs of perception are revived. And this is during the age of Islam that it talks about that and has that picture, and it's this bottom picture right there. Which I'll screenshot more, and then there's that one right there.
It's linking the opening of the fifth seal to our perception.
Yeah, that's what it says. It says the opening of perception. Or revived. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it says.
Interesting.
And that's in the Revelation of St. John, in the fifth seal specifically. Talks about that. And then it's also mentioning right here about Pope Leo. So all this was during that time, I'm assuming. And then you go on, and what is this? The Secret History of the World. It's talking about King Arthur in that chapter in the Grail. And then it goes on with more and more right here. Astrology reintroduced into Christian Europe via Islam, personified here in a 16th century French manuscript. That black and white picture. Other way on. There we go. Oh, there we go. Whoops. There we go. There we go. Ta-da.
Right.
That's strange.
Red Eyes just put a link to the PDF.
Let's see what Red Eye said. Hell yeah. And the other one is Metaphors We All Live By, or Metaphors We Live by George Lakoff and Mark Johnson. That's also a very good one. The Secret History of the World, I was on a waiting list for a while to find a copy of that. And I go through Thrift Books, I think is the name of the website that I used to order my books. That's how I got a hard copy of James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. This is one of my favorite ones.
Right, it's downloading something. I hope that's the. Zero seconds left. Right, here we go.
And I talked to Daisy too, not too long ago. Been checking in on her. I meant to I need to double check in with her and make sure she's got.
Here you go, look. Secret History of the World.
Yep, that's it. It is a damn good book. Fell right into my table. Lean forward too far. Yep, that's it. And there you go. Some of the pictures in there are like, whoa.
So yeah, we could go through this.
Yeah. The other one that I think would be worth looking at on the side is because I think that's gonna help in with Burning Cannon and Tartaria stuff. It's literally called The Druids or just Druids. And it's a great book, and it talks about all the stuff all the way back to the Celts, Stonehenge, and I think even before that. I actually have that copy. I just got to go pick it up because somewhere else it's not here, over at a buddy's house. I also had a copy.
Oh, look at that! It talks about Gurdjieff.
Yeah, I knew I'd seen that name somewhere. When I saw you reading that the other day, I knew I had seen that name somewhere, and I could not freaking remember. But HP, that's where Blavatsky. That's why.
Rudolf Steiner. Paracelsus.
Yep.
Jacob Boehm. Manuel Swedenborg.
I knew I'd seen that. I knew when I seen that, I was like, why do I know that name? It's H.P. Blavatsky. And also,
Gurdjieff is really
talking about it's hard sometimes for me to talk about some of the esoteric stuff because when Blavatsky comes up, 9 times out of 10, Alistair is going to come up. And that's where it always starts to get fickle because while there are some things that I clearly and fully believe that Alistair, was on to something, it went dark somewhere with him. I don't know what. And
Aleister Crowley. So from what I've read, what I've learned about Aleister Crowley was that he was doing an incantation up at Loch Ness. He was doing an incantation at Loch Ness, at the cottage at Loch Ness, and while he was doing it, it should have taken 3 days to do it. And once you start an incantation, you're not meant to stop. You can't just stop halfway through.
Right.
You're meant to finish it. And this one, you could only fit. It took 3 days. It was a 3-day spell, so it took 3 days to cast the spell or whatever. And his intention was to trap evil spirits. But while he was doing the incantation, his mentor contacted him and basically said he needed him to come to London. You have to come to London now. And so Aleister Crowley stopped.
That's when she was born.
Didn't finish the incantation and went to London to go and see his mentor. And it was from that moment that Loch Ness, like there's this theory that that's where Loch Ness came from.
But then he ran into that woman. He ran into a woman while he was in London and had an affair that he tried to keep secret. Do you know about that?
No.
I think she's a French woman though. Okay, that baby, that girl, is Barbara Bush. I'm telling you. As in George W. Sr. wife, George W.'s mom, Barbara, is Aleister Crowley's daughter. I'm telling you. I swear. Look at that woman. Look at that woman.
It just wouldn't surprise me because they're so.
I think it was some stuff that I was doing researching and come across while I was watching a separate video, and I went and looked something up. And when that something that I looked up led me to reading a story, and then I was like, wait a minute, that would mean that this is this and this. That would be Barbara Bush. Yeah, dude. Sometimes I'll be like, you just let me find out where she's at and go get me a hair sample. Oh, I like that artwork. I love artwork like that. I'm not even gonna lie. Sometimes I'm just so fascinated by artwork like that.
I was fascinated by fantasy art.
Oh, wow. I have a copy of the Bhagavad Gita too that has some really interesting pictures in it. In the Book of the Dead, they're called the Seven Spirits.
I'm just going through the. Oh look, it's like the Petruvian Man.
Yep. Which is also weird. Those cases, some of these true crime cases I follow, the names of some of the cities they're in, like Delphi in Indiana, Moscow, which is in Idaho, Peru, also in Indiana, not far from Delphi, in Miami County, which is weird.
So one of the things that reading Gurdjieff showed me was that like they changed the names of places.
Yeah.
They've changed the names of places so much, man.
To confuse the shit out of us.
Places that existed 100 years ago don't exist anymore.
Right.
Or they exist somewhere else, or
yeah. Or like
Egypt, you know, there's an Egypt in Scotland.
Yeah. There's a Memphis in Tennessee. Like, what the heck? I think there's a Lebanon too, a Lebanon in Tennessee.
Look at that.
Wow.
The 7 chakras. The crown, third eye.
Yeah. And the elemental their elemental triangles there. I love that. See? And people are just like, brain, that's so crazy. I'm just so blown away. Oh, and did you see that yesterday about Paul's gonna be taking a little bit of a step back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a bit sad because he's let the trolls get to him.
Yeah. I hate
basically.
that.
He's let the trolls get to him.
And they're just jealous.
It's a shame. Like,
because he does some amazing work, dude.
Yeah. Man, I don't know.
And on top of being a caretaker, he puts his heart into that shit and does a lot of research, just like we all do. So, like, God dang it, I can't stand a troll.
No, I mean, I've had some really, really bad trolls, man. I've done some really. It's against the law. What they've done is blatantly against the law. Like they're guilty of serious slander, defamation of character.
Yeah.
All of it. And I just, you know, fuck them.
Yeah. That's how I feel about them. I'm like, if y'all want to see, if honestly, if y'all hate me so much, why you get up, spending your whole damn day wasting your time stalking me and watching me? Because you love me, so shut up.
That's it. It's like I'm living rent free in your head.
Exactly.
I don't even know the
It's
fuck
like
you
I
are.
do not even acknowledge that you are even in existence until somebody goes, "Hey, do you know such and such said that about you?" I'm like, they still on my dick that hard? What the fuck? I really am. I'm like, I can't believe I literally me. Why they want to know what the hell I'm doing all the time? I literally am so lame. It ain't even funny.
I think
So
that's why,
lame.
like, my trolls made a concerted pushback a while ago, and then it only lasted for a few streams, you know, when they realized that they weren't going to get any sort of rise out of me at all. And actually, I was disappointed when one of my mods kicked one of them out. I was like, oh no, you should have left him. I was
I
having fun
know.
then. I was
We're
having
having
fun.
fun letting him lose his mind, watching us make fun of him. I love that.
It's yeah, but I think that that's all a matter of perception as well. People seeing trolls as an enemy or see them as a tool.
Because that's what I do.
But they're a bunch of tools. That's all they are.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of tools.
Because I'm intelligent enough to debate with them. If they have something they want to say, feel free to come in and speak your mind. Have evidence to back it up. Because if not, I'm about to give you a word salad sandwich that you are going to choke on, and then you can quietly leave. Because I'll make sure that I know what I'm talking about before I get on there and have a debate with you. Like that whole mask thing that was driving me nuts over. You mean we've only been breathing it out our whole lives, speaking to the trees because they breathe in the dioxide, the carbon dioxide that we breathe out because they reproduce it and put it out as oxygen. Now, we've been doing this our whole lives, and you expect me to just simply forget that one day because you tell me to put on the damn mask. I'm sorry. No, kiss my ass. Unless you want to do every bit of unscience you've ever taught me, no, you just straight up bullshit me and think I'm just going to bend over backwards and suck your dick and do what you tell me to because you're the government. No, I don't think so. Not when you want me to work a 9-to-5 job so that my tax dollars can feed and house pedos and give them 3 square meals a day, yet we can't give the children we force into public school breakfast and lunch. No, sir. I am not doing that. You're going to have to drag my ass up out of this house, literally force me into some old-fashioned slavery, shackle me up, and tell me I'm going to do that job before you think I'm ever going to voluntarily do that for you. No. Not when I've been a victim of that.
You're going to have to forgive me because I haven't been able to stop thinking about this fish that I like eating. And I sat in the fridge and I was like, oh, I'm just going to have to, I've got to eat some. But it's...
what kind of fish is that?
It's what are they called? Anchovies.
And you like anchovies?
Yeah, but in oil, like garlic oil.
No, I might actually have to try that sometime.
Oh man!
Because I've never actually tried anchovy. When I worked at a pizza store, they used to call and put anchovies on the pizza. I hated being on the oven when that shit was coming out.
The anchovies that they put on a pizza, the sort of they're really salty and
they have a funky smell.
And they look dark, like
they are dark,
brown. Yeah, that's. I don't know what they do to them, but it's like tinned anchovies, basically. I don't mind it, right? I don't mind it, but it's not my favorite thing. But these are nothing like that. These are just bloody gorgeous, absolutely amazing. But they're expensive.
I bet. Everything is now.
Everything's doubled in price, man.
Everything.
It's all doubled in price.
It's ridiculous.
Like in the last week.
Yeah. Gas was just starting to go down here, but I think it's going back up. I don't know what it is over there. It was here. It was over $3 a gallon. And I think I just seen it a little under like $2.30 the other day, but it's probably went back up. Kerosene is kind of high because it's cold right now. If the power goes out, you got to have some kind of heat. So which I'm not surprised. It's been cold enough. We've not had no snow and we've not had no ice. So I do not understand unless the power lines are literally getting that cold. But I don't see how that can't happen. That don't make no damn sense either.
I don't know.
They got
the ground's always a colder. The ground's always colder in it than the than the air.
Yeah, but it's not even frozen. Let's see what temperature about it today. Today it was according to
shout out to Bernie, by the way.
Oh, hey, Bernie, have fun. Yeah, let's see. Put everybody up. Let me get out of here. I'll get out. Put the chat up. Exit full screen, then I can put the chat up. That's how it works. There we go.
she's just shut herself out. She'll be back in a sec. Yeah, Susie, you got Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida, haven't you? So he's pretty cool. I want to see what he makes happen with these investigations. You coming back, Em? I don't know what happened there, babe. Yes, she is.
Yeah, I don't know why the hell it just kicked me out like that all of a sudden. I thought that was weird as hell. All because I want to see the chat. I was like, I'm just trying to see the chat. Y'all got me messed up. But my phone is also on 3%. I don't know why the hell it's like that.
Curious Squirrel? Yes. Curious Squirrel, yes, I did. Thank you, darling. I did. I've got that. It's part of the reason why I'm eating this fish now. So, yes, thank you very much, darling. They came through on my PayPal came through on
at least you got yours, but I still have not
Tuesday.
got my it's here.
So I've got that PDF.
Okay, so what's up with the PDF?
World. I'm definitely going to go through that.
It's really good. I'm still going through parts of it, and then if I get here, depending on what time it is, I'm going to swing by my friend's house and grab the Druid book because the Druid book has some really, really good stuff in it that I wanted to share. Where is my?
I have to see if I can get that on PDF as well.
It's great. I'll know it immediately when I see the cover of it. I'm trying to think of who the author of that book was, but I can't think of it right off the top of my head. But I'm getting aggravated as hell now that I can't find my right cord because these two cords are not my cord that goes in my phone. If somebody took my good cord, I'm going to kick it. There's a reason why my cords are back here and they're off. Fucking wankers. Dang, I know that.
Red Eye saying, what's the name, Em?
Of the Druid book? It's just called it's either called the Druid or the Druids or Druids. Druids. And it's gray covered. That talks about all that stuff. I think it might even have a like a image of Stonehenge on there too, but don't quote me on that.
Clarice, don't say things like that. Are you saying that I might be pregnant? Are you saying I might be pregnant? God.
Don't you put that shit on me, girl.
Was saying, when I was pregnant, I used to crave anchovies.
Bless it.
But yeah, these anchovies are not like the anchovies that they put on a pizza. Not at all.
Not at all. That's a good thing. Then I'm assuming that's. Where's my black cord? Do you have my charger?
They've got the texture of chicken.
They got
in the UK. They sell them.
Oh no, that's much better. If it tastes like chicken,
They don't
that's
taste.
awesome.
No, they don't taste. They don't taste like chicken. They got the texture of chicken.
So they got the texture.
Yeah, I think that's it's like chicken, but there's no bones. That's the important thing.
That's my damn. My one cord that I bought. Oh,
What are you looking for?
It's a cord. It's a specific cord for my charger because my phone right here, it's charging, but it just keeps staying on 3% because it's a different cord than what I'm normally using. And the cord that I normally use was plugged into the brick that is plugged up right now. It seems to me like somebody has come by and swapped out cords, which is nothing unusual around here. People love to jack that particular cord because it's a turbo charger. It's a turbo cord, and it's a really long one. So, yeah. And that makes me mad because I've hollered twice now, and I'm sure that I've been hurt. And it's not one of those. I'm so picky about my cords that I take them all up. Let me get in the big screen again. And then I wrap them like this. And then I will take a bread tie, whichever one I got, whatever came with it. If I still got the one that came with it, and I'll tie it up. That way the shit don't get tangled up. Not to mention, I'm so tired of fucking dumbass taking my shit that I will mark it. This one's not marked. But I know the way I mark it, which cord goes with what item. This particular cord actually is another cord that goes with my mic. This red cord has a specific brick, and the cord goes with the phone I'm on right now for charging. The cord that I bought that I'm talking about is actually a long cord that's a turbocharged cord that I bought separately by itself because I had lost my other one, and it's marked for that reason. And I never usually have it out unless I'm using it and it's plugged into something. And the brick that it's plugged into right now, I have, but I don't have that black cord. So that's why I'm like, okay, I'll find the air in a little while, and somebody's going to get their butt chewed out. Because honestly, whenever I have to work my ass off for everything that I get and I buy, because I actually buy the stuff, and somebody takes it and they know me and they could have just asked me for it, it just makes me angry on a level where I'm like, one of these days, I'm going to choke you with the cord, and then I bet you don't take it again.
Well,
because I'm like, dang it.
It just feels like even more of a liberty, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It just feels like even more of a liberty that they've taken because they know.
Yeah, especially when I have had people do this to me that it's like, now you and I both damn well know your situation, and that you could have just went and got your own fucking cord and it wouldn't hurt you a bit. But like, if I have to take the money out of my pocket to go buy a cord, I'm probably taking a meal out of my mouth. And when people like that take my cord, that's when I'm like, you're one of these days, all your little buddies ain't gonna be around to save your ass, and then the real Emma's gonna come out, and then by God, y'all ain't gonna mess with me no more. Because I used to be really impulsive and like played no games when I was younger, and people got away with a lot of shit. And then when I had kids, and then especially when I had grandkids, I dialed that back a lot, and I started letting people that I didn't go to school with and my newer friends know a different type of Emma that was much calmer and would tolerate a lot more stuff. And some of my older friends would come around and be like, man, I can't believe Emma did that, because the old Emma would have done kicked your ass if you'd done that shit harder back in the day. And they're like, yeah, she's not like that. And I'm like, yep, y'all fixing to bring her back around. Because I've had it with that damn thing about my cords. I had a whole bag of cords and bricks get stolen from me last year on purpose. Because people don't realize the information that each one of these cords and the bricks that come with those phones carry. You think those phones come with their own brick and individual cord for a reason, people? Read the manual. Read the manual, people, because I swear, if y'all knew how sensitive something like this right here, where's that one thing is? Because I've done tests. I'll need to get burned one day because I bet he'll back me up on this. I can test some of this. Let me find a brick. Even something simple as this right before you plug it in. Let me find a good brick. Well, here, I'll do it with the other one that I'm not using right at the moment.
Do you recognise the name Pete Beresford Ellis?
No, not right off. But this.
He's written a book called Druids.
Oh, no, that might be it. Druids. That might be it if you got the screen. But this, something simple as this. And then say one word before you plug it in. I don't care what word it is. It don't even have to be specific. You don't even have to remember it. Do it one day and then watch the difference.
Hey? Say that
Talking
again.
into your brick. Okay. Like this right here. Is this the right one? Okay. This cord right here is plugged in to a brick that goes to my Nord phone, but this is not the cord that goes to it, right? But even weird little stuff like this, you can test. Take the end of the brick or let the end of the cord. Look at the color for one, because that also matters. They're not all white. They're not all black. I even have some that are blue and different colors. And just do something like this. Blow into it, because why? You're just blowing your DNA in there for one. Two, plug it in there. I don't care what word you say or whatever. Do that, and then pay attention to little things in your phone with your mic, your audio, different stuff when you're on different websites and or social media, and see if you don't notice the difference about what kind of stuff you're able to access within your apps or within your accounts and stuff. It matters. That's the reason why people don't understand me why sometimes. But if I don't personally know you, I don't know what kind of phone you have, I don't know what you do in your personal life. If I see you go and take my phone off the charger and put my cord in your phone, that to me is no different than giving my phone a sexually transmitted disease. It works it works the same way. Phones and viruses are just like people and viruses. So if you stick your dirty ass USB in my clean phone, you just fucked my phone. First of all, you raped it, and now you could have possibly given it STD with your stupid USB. I don't know where that shit's been. Don't fuck with me. I'm being dead ass serious. I know people are like, that bitch is crazy. Y'all don't know what I know. My mom worked for a computer motherboard manufacturing company when I was younger. And during the summertime, we'd be in the break room hanging out sometimes, and I'd look at all these different little components and stuff like that. Not to mention a lot of other stuff that I know about my family history, where it's like, I would have never, if I knew what I knew about Bluetooth now back in the day, I'd have never hooked one damn phone of mine to anybody's Bluetooth in their car ever. And they probably wouldn't want me to if I knew the stuff I know now and then went back and looked in their car, then hooked to that. And please, people, if you use Google and you don't want to be tracked, go in there and turn the damn location off in the setting, in Google's setting, not on your phone, in Google's history, because it'll literally track you everywhere you've been, all over the damn place.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shock. Like for some, if you go and you can go and look on Google and have a look at where Google has tracked you. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. And then it makes you wonder, like, well, who else knew that?
I mean, because the location settings on your phone, it's not sending a live location.
Whose dumbass idea was it to get a phone and go, I know what I'll do. I'll share this phone with someone. I'll just set up a different user account and let them use my phone periodically from time to time, thinking that there's no possible way this person could be smart and ever figure out how to hack over into my account, read my shit, have access to it, then give me the phone back and act like they didn't do that. Some of y'all have never woke up with your damn boyfriend holding. Yeah. Yeah.
I've never
Like you
done
can go,
that
like
with a phone.
yeah, you can go into Did you know that you can have phones with dual fucking SIM cards in them at the same time?
Well, my phone has got space for 2 SIMs. I only use one. It's got space for 2.
My
Yeah,
phone
dual
does
SIM
too.
phones.
But I know people that know how to they can put the dual SIM. So if your phone has a dual SIM, they put their SIM in your phone, but then they take it out and put it back in their phone. They can somehow access your phone still too without having that SIM in it because of the account. They may not have full access, but they have some access to your phone, including your emails and your text messages.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Oh, well, that's why I
That
apply about
sounds
some
like
stuff to some
tracking.
people.
That sounds like tracking software or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
This
it is. Yeah,
this is
people
the
are
book.
crazy.
See if you recognize the hang on. Where it is. Does that look like it?
Yes, but I think I have
You
a
see it?
different. I just have a newer version of it. But yeah, I'm almost positive that's the same book because I do remember it being the. Yeah, yeah, I'm almost positive that's the
Boston
same
Public
book.
Library.
Actually, you know what? If I look at my damn Gmail history real quick, I can probably tell you exactly whether or not same book. But I got it off, what is it? Yeah, thriftbooks.com, and I ordered that James and the Giant Peach. A very, very good book. No wonder my fingerprint scanner wasn't working on the back of my other phone. I had the case on the ass backwards.
Right, so I have to open an account to log in.
I'm looking at, yep, that's it. I'm pretty sure because I'm based on what I'm seeing in the thing there. Yep. Yep, that's it. Because it says, is that the second say the Celtic world?
The Celtic world, origin of the
That's
Druids, Druids through foreign eyes, Druids through Celtic eyes. So Druids is something that W.J. Perry talks about in Children of the Sun.
Yeah. Oh, Manly P. Hall also talks about some of the stuff that's in the Druid book. Manly P. Hall talks about as well.
He makes a connection with the ancient civilizations, basically the archaic civilizations, and the Druids, and the connection to the sun gods and stuff. He talks about Druidic. Eh?
Oh, it's hard. I stepped away for a second because I looking for Ivan Negroza. But yeah, it does talk about the Celtic Druidic, and then how that ties into the Rosicrucians and the pagans, Hermetics.
Yeah.
And basically everything that religions come from go all the way back to that.
I mean, the Roman Catholics have lied to us about the Druids and what what they were about.
And they're trying to hide the stuff that the Druids are telling us, making us think that it's bad, when a lot of the stuff the Druids are telling us wasn't bad. Wasn't wrong. It's all how you have to understand magic. You have to, just like duality, there's dark, there's light. You have to understand with power comes great responsibility. That's why everybody shouldn't know about magic, and everybody should know about Hermetics, and hell no, the Rosicrucians shouldn't be letting everybody in on that knowledge, and neither should the Freemasons, to be quite honest, the ones that are actually practicing it the right way. But like, no, yeah, they just should. They just shouldn't. I mean, that'd be crazy.
I don't think that I don't think that knowledge is for everybody. I think that it's dangerous in some people's hands, and that that the people that have it, that have control of it, it's dangerous in their hands. But there's normal average everyday people out there that So God, there's people I know, friends of mine, that if they knew it as knowledge, you know, if they were actually able to know it, it would be dangerous.
Yeah.
They would be dangerous.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They'd be dangerous to themselves. They'd be dangerous to other people.
To everybody.
And
yeah. That's why you don't tell them people. That's why you don't even you don't know. There's no way. Ain't no way. I've had people ask me about certain stuff, and I'm like, "What now? Why in hell would I want to tell? I don't even practice stuff like that. Why would I want to tell you something like that? That's dangerous as shit." Like for the people that do know that magic's real, for the most part, they do understand that you can't just be playing with that stuff.
Well, what the trouble is, and this is all about perception. People base their perception of knowledge on Hollywood portrayal of it. So when you cast a spell on somebody, there aren't sparks and you know, visible energy waves coming off your fingers, you know.
Just shooting out like beams of light.
It's not all firework displays and
lollipops and cheese and wonder, like
you can't actually see the magic. All you can see is the results of it. You can see what happens, but you can't see how it happens.
Right. But you know that it's happened. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know that when I practice magic, I don't have to physically see the freaking every single aspect of the magic while it's in action to know that it's working. You know what I mean? Like, I know. Or if I'm not there, it's say, for example, I put out a spell, I don't know while it's going on. I don't even know if it's working, when it's working, or if it's going to happen when I think it might happen. But when it does, I'm like, oh, damn, it did work. There'll be just, you know what I mean? There's just stuff you know that you did. But like my magic, first of all, I don't cast spells. I learned a long time ago not to do that. I may do like energy work.
I mean, some would argue that we do. Some would argue that we're casting spells all the time.
No. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I guess when you're talking and you're saying, which is why in the last year too, I've also tried to become more mindful.
Things as well. When we put things into writing as well.
Yeah.
Because we're physically spelling things out.
I didn't think of that. Yeah. I never even thought about it like from that standpoint either. Like, and that makes a lot of sense because that's how where writing comes from. Like when we used to do when they did scrying before we learned like language, and they would do the like writing in the sky, like they called it scrying. Like way back in the day before before
scrying isn't scrying when you get like a crystal and hold it over a map or something, and the crystal will
but that was, I think that wasn't that like a form of writing back then, or was that not a form of
no, that was scrying. That was like you know, the poles divining for
dowsing
water.
rod? Dowsing rod.
Yeah, it's scrying is a different form of that. Dowsing, that's it. Dowsing rods. Yeah.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Bernie. Happy New Year, mate.
Yes, Merry Christmas, Bern.
Hey, we were talking about 23 earlier. Right? So 23 was my number. Big things happen around 23. It's 2023 next year. It's 2023. It's my year. It's going to be my year.
It's got to be.
It's going to be our year.
It's going to be
It's going to be my year, and if it's my year, that means it's our year, man.
Because everybody, because we are. Cannot believe
Oh, do you know what,
that.
sweetheart?
It's late,
I'm
isn't it?
burnt
Where
out.
you are?
Eh? Say that
It's
again.
late where you are. It's late, isn't it? Or it's getting later where
No,
you are.
nah, it's dark. Well, it's getting
It's
lighter,
dark.
but it's dark now. It's like it's 7 minutes to 9 in the evening now, so it's starting to get late, but it's dark outside. But we've had
Okay, yeah, because
we had this cold snap that lasted like 2 days, and there was snow up on the mountains, and it was freezing cold. I was out in my, I had a vest and a t-shirt and a shirt and a hoodie. Well, a vest, a t-shirt, a hoodie, and a leather jacket on. Going outside. That was nice, and cozy. I was nice wearing that.
we have
But
to
then it just suddenly went,
warm back up.
and it changed,
Yep.
and we suddenly got a kalima, and the wind's coming from Africa, and it was warm, like warm. It went from, it must have jumped 15, 20
degrees. Yep. Here too.
Like overnight. Boom.
Yeah.
Really weird.
It was like 7 degrees yesterday was the low, and it's 50 today was the high. What the hell? Like, make that make
talking in
sense.
Fahrenheit, obviously. You're talking Fahrenheit. You're talking Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's still a lot. Because 32 degrees in Fahrenheit is what they consider freezing. But it was at 7 degrees.
7 to
50.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference. And that's where I woke up sweating my ass off.
You could see if it went like to flip the other way, to go from warm to cold, if it suddenly the cold snap, you can see why there'd be a lot of split pipes and stuff. But that still doesn't explain to me how sewage water got mixed in with drinking water.
But there was no snow. Why was there no snow? There was no snow. There was no ice. There was no nothing but that drastic cold. Like, I don't get,
I mean, just because there wasn't any snow doesn't mean that the temperature didn't get that low. If there was water, if there was standing water, but there was no ice, but then no, the pipes didn't freeze. It's not possible for stuff to freeze below the ground, and the water that sat on the ground didn't freeze.
Right.
Like if the pipes are going to freeze, then you'd expect, if there was a lake there, you'd expect that lake to be cut,
and it didn't freeze.
Right. Then
not. Not bullshit, even a bit. There was not even a bit of ice on that lake, bro. None.
Yeah.
And it's even more weird. So since there's been, since that's happened, there are fresh spring water access up on the Blue Ridge Parkway, if you know where to hike at, and there's one not far from here, but they shut off access to the parkway. Why? If there's normally they do that when there's snow, because it can get dangerous at the higher elevation of the parkway up there, but it didn't snow. There's no known construction going on up there or anything like that either. So why'd you shut off access? Because you don't want people to get fresh water.
Maybe it's just over cautiousness, like that maybe this normally it does snow, and this time it hasn't.
They might have been expecting it. We just might have dodged it, But I'm definitely looking into that. Definitely going to be looking into that and checking in with my parents too again.
Where have you gone? With M's fallen over. Hopefully she'll be back in a sec. I'll just shout out the chat room while we're waiting, and then I am going to wrap the stream up, because I was live with Sonia for an hour and a half before I came on with M, and it's 2.5 hours with M, so I'm burnt out. I'm ready. It's 9 o'clock here, so I'm shattered, and all roads here were closed. More than 5 feet of snow over Christmas. Where are you, Curious Squirrel? You're in the UK, aren't you? You in the UK? I thought you were in the UK. 5 feet of snow. It's crazy, man. I would have loved that when I was 10 years old. Would have absolutely loved that. Right, I don't know where M's gone. We've lost her. Maybe her phone has her phone might have actually died. Northern New York, near Canadian border, East Lake Ontario. Ah. Didn't know you. I thought you were English. Right. Listen, guys. Like I say, I'm burnt out. My brain stopped working. M, I'm gonna message her on Signal and just let her know that I'm gonna wrap it up. Yeah. Thank you very much, peeps, for being here. It was just a chat with Emma because she wanted to. She said she wanted to come on when I was chatting with Sonia, so I set up a new stream for us to have a conversation. It took a little while because we had some problems with her headset and a new microphone and stuff, but we got it all sorted. And hopefully everybody heard that okay. It seemed like you did in the chat room. Don't forget, please, screw the algorithm. Give it a thumbs up. Give this video a thumbs up and share it on your social media and all of those things that YouTube creators are supposed to say to their viewers. Thank you very much. I'm going to play out with a video. And yeah, much love. Peace.